line of strong and powerful women. I believe I can do anything. I have worked globally with women living with HIV from all walks of life. I'm humbled, inspired by their courage in the face of adversity. Imagine if they had equity. I'm here to commemorate all the people who have fought and died, all the amazing people living with HIV who are still fighting to educate, to prevent HIV, to stop discrimination and stigma, to tell their stories, to be autonomous. I remember my friends who have died. I remember I still have friends that will die because of the same reasons. Last Sunday, my friend died of AIDS. She died of AIDS in 2015. Why? Because she lived in a developing country, had no money, limited access to information, medication. Yes, but the truth is discrimination and stigma. It stopped her from talking to her partner, getting tested, accessing care and support, accessing medical services. Discrimination and stigma leads to anxiety, mental health problems. It disenfranchises you, demotes you, isolates you, decreases your sense of belonging, negates your self-esteem, self-worth and self-sufficiency. The fear is debilitating, isolating. Stigma prevents us from seeking even basic medical care. One of my earlier experiences was when I was working in Thailand in 1995. I had a miscarriage, but I couldn't tell the hospital I was HIV positive or go under an anaesthetic, as they would sterilise me. My girlfriend held my hand whilst telling me really bad jokes. Lying in the surgery with no anaesthetic, the doctor and a gaggle of nurses proceeded. We were vigilant that they adhered to universal procedures. To top it all off, all of the nurses clapped and congratulated me at the end for being so brave. I didn't feel brave. I didn't feel anything except guilt. I certainly wasn't advocating for all the other women living with HIV. Here I was, suddenly a not so openly positive woman, just dealing with my situation the best I could. Thank God. No, thank the sex workers. Thank the HIV community. This doesn't happen in Thailand these days, but it still does happen in other countries throughout the world. 2011, I was called to a mother in Indonesia sleeping on the floor, on a concrete floor, under her dying baby's cot. She cannot leave, not because of the culture, but because the nurses are too frightened of HIV and stay away, as does her family. She is shunned, isolated. Her husband has died, and her 2 other children are in the village alone. There is no medication for any of them. Doctors, nurses are lacking in knowledge and too fearful to ask, hence the myths are created and perpetuated. Discrimination and stigma is born. Violence gains momentum. With 550,000 people living with HIV in Indonesia, this is a dangerous mix. You ask, what does this have to do with me? Well, the virus doesn't know any borders. We are part of Asia and the world. These stories are not in isolation. They are global. They are in Australia, just with a cultural twist. Discrimination and stigma equals violence. Violence equals human rights abuses. 1 in 3 Australian women have experienced violence. Domestic violence is the leading contributor to death, disability and illness in Victorian women. Governments today must play its part, especially through the development of policy that increases gender equity. Such policy will begin civilising the health outcomes for women living with HIV. The development of gendered health, mental health and psychosocial programs are a priority. Across all levels of government, this will help eliminate discrimination and stigma and inequities faced by women living with HIV. Women need to be part of the national conversation. We need to be recognised as a priority population. We need sustainable HIV goals that address gender-based inequities for women. Gender stratification has been systemic, hierarchical, unfair and inequitable. It leads to consequences for health and illness in ways that are unique to us as women living with HIV. I am a HIV cross-cultural analyst who has worked globally for 5 decades with the arts for social change. I am inspired by women. They are the experts, carers, teachers, providers, leaders. Their quintessence is a vital part of the solution. Just imagine what we could do if we had equity and equality. This is the time to unite, time to work together, intersectoral, intergenerational. We need to ensure that women and girls are inspired to protect themselves from HIV, to make decisions about their own health and to live free of violence, including violence relating to their HIV status. Women are part of the solution. We have our narrative, which enriches the HIV dialogue. We are positively fabulous.